You're listening to the Acadiana's Morning News Podcast, brought to you by LABI and always on KPEL965.com.
Child abuse, BACA, exists with the intent to create a safer environment for abused children. We exist as a body of bikers to empower children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. We stand ready to lend support to our wounded friends by involving them with an established, united organization. We work in conjunction with local and state officials who are already in place to protect children. We desire to send a clear message to all involved with the abused child that this child is part of our organization and that we are prepared to lend our physical and emotional support to them by affiliation and our physical presence. We stand at the ready to shield these children from further abuse. We do not condone the use of violence or physical force in any manner. However, if circumstances arise such that we are the only obstacle preventing a child from further abuse, we stand ready to be that obstacle. If you'd like to know more about BACA, please visit our website at bacaworld.org or call 1-866-71-ABUSE.
Hey parents, you don't need the latest gizmo, slang, or clothes to be a perfect parent, because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
For those fortunate enough to help the person who has always been their hero, find the care guides you need to help at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studio. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
A meeting of world leaders in Italy, and President Biden is there. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Allora, buongiorno a tutti. Benvenuti.
They were welcomed by Italian Prime Minister Meloni, and joining the G7 summit today will be Ukraine's President Zelensky.
He'll meet President Biden on the sidelines of the summit, the two men signing an agreement pledging long-lasting U.S. support for Ukraine. The White House sees the agreement as a signal to Russia's Vladimir Putin that he can't outlast Ukraine and its allies. The G7 will also send a message to China, the leaders looking to unite against Beijing's political and economic ambitions, but some anxious to avoid an all-out trade war.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. There's also a meeting at NATO headquarters in Brussels focused on helping Ukraine battle Russia. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and his counterparts considering a long-term assistance plan and military training. Former President Trump will be in Washington this morning to meet with House Republicans in a few hours. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson.
We have to fix effectively every area of public policy.
It will also be the former president's first time on Capitol Hill since the events of January 6, 2021. Speaker Johnson says it's been spoken about multiple times and that President Trump respects the transfer of power.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. The former president will meet with Senate Republicans after that House meeting. Now, the House has voted to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress for refusing to hand over audio of President Biden's interview with special counsel Hur in the Biden classified documents investigation. Congressman James Comer tells Fox Business.
Republicans in the House are unified in trying to hold people accountable in the government.
Now, Garland says they're just turning congressional authority into a partisan weapon. He did turn over transcripts of the Biden interview, but the president asserted his executive privilege over the audio. Hur controversially decided not to pursue charges, saying the president came across as elderly with a poor memory. America's listening to Fox News.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit ConsumerCellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-887-1010. That's 800-887-1010.
President Biden is being sued over his border executive order that limits asylum claims when illegal immigration surges. The ACLU and others call the order illegal and similar to Trump policies, as Republicans blame Biden policies for allowing 8 terror suspects into the U.S. They've been arrested, but after being allowed to enter illegally. A Kentucky man convicted of terror charges faces up to 50 years in prison.
Mirsad Hariz Adem Ramik left the U.S. and traveled to Turkey in 2014 and then into Syria to join ISIS, according to the Justice Department, which also says he took part in an ISIS military offensive in Syria. He was eventually incarcerated in Turkey and then deported. He's been in U.S. custody since 2021.
Fox's Jack Callahan. Stock futures mixed on Wall Street the day after the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 closed at record highs after the Federal Reserve again held off cutting interest rates.
We are maintaining our restrictive stance of monetary policy in order to keep demand in line with supply and reduce inflationary pressures.
Fed Chairman Jerome Powell says there may be one rate cut later this year. In the NBA Finals, Boston wins again.
Tatum the drive, sidestep, got us up, won't go, the follow by Brown. Another big play from Jaylen Brown.
He scored 30 points. Jason Tatum had 31, leading the Celtics to a 106-99 win over the Mavericks on ABC. Boston now leads Dallas 3-0 and could win the NBA championship tomorrow night. Golf's next major tournament, the U.S. Open, has just teed off at the Pinehurst No. 2 course in North Carolina. Tiger Woods will start his round in about a half hour.
Having won 5 of the last 8 PGA tournaments, world number 1 ranked Scottie Scheffler, the overwhelming odds-on favorite to win the U.S. Open. Scheffler not even 3-1 compared to the next 2 closest golfers who were at 10-1 at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Those 2, Scheffler's playing partners for the first 2 rounds, Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele, who just won the PGA Championship.
That's Jared Max. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wertz with a look at news on this Thursday, June 13th. A months-long investigation in St. Landry Parish resulted in the closure of what officials say was a house of prostitution disguised as a spa. Detectives executed a search warrant that revealed several items, including handwritten ledgers and other business documents indicating criminal activity. They also talked to several customers who said 2 women were offering sexual favors in exchange for cash. Officials say the 2 women suspects didn't speak English well and were uncooperative during the investigation. The women were booked Tuesday and bonded out a short time later. Bessie has approved a new accountability system for all schools and districts in the state. Grow, Achieve, Thrive reportedly puts more emphasis on making sure students are mastering content and that they're ready for college, service, or careers after graduation. The plan will go into effect for the 25-26 school year. However, simulated scores will be provided for 23-24 and 24-25. Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries agents have arrested 6 people for allegedly committing fraud in hog hunting contests in Caldwell and Bienville parishes. Agents received a tip that the 6 individuals were catching wild hogs in Texas and entering them into Louisiana contests. Hunting fraud brings up to a $3,000 fine and 1 year in jail. According to a Pelican Institute report, population and job growth are stagnant in Louisiana. Chief economist with the Pelican Institute, Vance Ginn, says Louisiana ranks in the bottom 10 in the nation in population growth and unemployment rate. Ginn says lawmakers have already taken one step to improve the state's job climate by passing a law reforming the state's occupational license law. Ginn says getting more people into the workforce will result in more revenue for the state, which he says could ultimately help the state wean itself off the personal income tax. The Louisiana Department of Health is reminding everyone to take precautions against mosquito bites this summer that could carry and expose people to West Nile virus. Mosquitoes are more active in the warmer months, and that increases the risk of contracting the disease. Mosquitoes normally get the virus from dead birds, and while 80% of people show no symptoms, some can develop West Nile fever, which is a flu-like illness that has symptoms of fever, headache, body aches, nausea, and rashes. There's no vaccine for West Nile virus, and the best course of action is preventing bites by wearing long pants and long-sleeve shirts outside and applying EPA-approved mosquito repellent on top of clothes and to exposed skin. To protect your home against mosquitoes that breed in standing water, turn over wheelbarrows, wading pools, buckets, and trash cans, anything that could collect water. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill joined the National Association of Attorneys General to endorse a House resolution bill known as the Child Exploitation and Artificial Intelligence Expert Commission Act of 2024 to target the usage of AI in child exploitation crimes. IT recommends new methods and solutions to improve criminal investigation and prosecution of crimes against children involving AI. You may want to pay extra attention to your mailbox beginning today. The Louisiana State Treasurer will begin mailing checks to residents who have unclaimed cash property. State Treasurer John Fleming says since his department began sharing information with the Department of Revenue through a legislative act in 2018, finding the rightful owners of property is easier. The Saints' 3-day mandatory minicamp started Tuesday, and many players were absent from the Saints OTAs, like Alvin Kamara and Marshawn Lattimore. Kamara reported for the 2024 minicamp on Wednesday and says he hopes to see a lot more intentionality in the Saints offense under new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. And he's excited to get back into a more versatile role in Kubiak's high-motioned offense. He was primarily used out of the backfield last season, but hopes that he can be more involved in both the passing and rushing scheme against Kubiak. The Saints will take on the Cardinals in their first preseason game on August 10th. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wirtz.
This hour of Acadiana's Morning News has been brought to you by Jani King. The King of Clean has been a leader in the cleaning industry on the Gulf Coast for over 35 years. To find out more about their cleaning and disinfecting services, head to their website at janiking.com.
Plenty of sunshine across Acadiana today. Those temperatures getting up to about 93 degrees. Winds coming from the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Overnight lows tonight going to be dropping down in the low to mid 70s. And then as we look ahead towards the weekend, mid and even upper 90s for Friday and Saturday under sunny skies. Tropical moisture getting in here on Sunday. Could spark a round of widespread showers starting Sunday and continuing on and off into the work week. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
All right, we don't have any accidents on the roadways early this morning. That's good news. Current temperature is 73 degrees. Good morning and welcome into Acadiana's Morning News on this Thursday, June the 13th. Almost halfway done with the month already. KPEL News time is 6:13, ironically, on 6:13. Tracy Wirtz joining you, and joining me as my sidekick this morning is Jamie Angel. Hi, Jamie.
Hey, Tracy. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm sleepy.
I know, right?
I don't miss this waking up early stuff.
You usually are on the other side of the clock.
I know.
You know, it's okay though. I'm really glad to be here with you. And I'm going to pick your brain about some stuff in just a minute. But right now, let's take a look at what we're celebrating today. It's National Golf Cart Day. I could do that. I'm not a golfer, but I can drop the golf cart.
Go to Youngsville.
Well, no kidding, huh? Find you a neighborhood. They're everywhere now. It's National Random Acts of Light Day. Okay. This is my day. National Kitchen Klutzes of America Day.
Is that you?
It's actually my mom. Like, we keep her away from knives.
But can you cook?
It depends.
Okay.
Select things. Select. Yeah. Emphasis on select. It's National Weed Your Garden Day.
Oh, I hope my wife's listening. She's not. That's why I said it.
Okay. National Sewing Machine Day and National Career Nurses Assistant Day. On this date in history, actually, we have a fairly long list today of very interesting things that happened on this date in history. In 1834, Leonard Norcross was granted the first U.S. patent for an underwater diving suit. Norcross invented the first closed helmet for diving made entirely from lead with an air pipe that went from the helmet to the water's surface. I remember seeing movies like that.
Lead. Can you imagine?
No. Yeah.
I mean, you have to have quite the frame. You and I are out. It's not happening.
Done. On this date in 1865, President Andrew Johnson reorganized the Confederate States. Part of his reorganization was to bring Southern governing areas into account. On this date in 1920, U.S. Post Office, the fact that they had to ban this is a little bit concerning. The U.S. Post Office banned customers from mailing animals and children. The choice came after several cases, including parents mailing their child to their grandparents, a woman in the middle of a divorce mailing her child to the father, and somebody mailing a skunk. All righty. I'm going to need the visuals.
New meaning to unaccompanied minor, I guess.
How much does it cost to mail my 2-year-old? On this date in 1966, the U.S. Supreme Court declared the start of informing potential criminals of their rights. The you Mirandize people. Of course, it is called the Miranda rights. It all started in 1963 when a suspect, unaware of his rights, got caught in a confession that he retracted. And now any potential criminal must be told, and I think we all know this just from TV. Yeah. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you. So, yeah. Law and order. What's interesting about that is the fact that it didn't come into play until the 60s. On this date in 1967, the Senate appointed Thurgood Marshall as the first U.S. African-American to the Supreme Court. On this date in 1981, Tom Snyder interviewed notorious killer Charles Manson on NBC's Tomorrow Coast to Coast show. I remember in the 80s, I don't know that I remember this one, but I remember several journalists asking for an audience with Charles Manson. He was an interesting character.
I haven't heard the name Tom Snyder in a while.
Right? On this date in 1983, NASA's spacecraft, the Pioneer 10, became the first craft to exit the solar system. That is mind-boggling to me.
Think it really happened?
See, that's what I'm wondering. How do you
prove it? The moon landing happened?
See, I'm not a conspiracy. Yeah. I think now what I really want to know is it made of cheese?
Oh, well.
KPEL News Time is 6:17. We have lots to do this morning. Coming up after 6:30, we have Acadiana's history professor, Dr. Bob Carricker. We'll find out what else we need to know about history. At 7 o'clock, we have Lafayette Mayor President Monique Blanco-Boulay in with us today. And in the 8 o'clock hour, it's our law enforcement segment. Today in the studio, St. Martin Parish. Wait, is this the second? Hang on. Yes. Okay, I had to count the Thursdays. Today, it's St. Martin Parish and Acadia Parish. So stay tuned. KPEL News Time 6:18.
Media Minute with Howard Kurtz.
This is a horribly hyped story by the media. The secret tapes of Sam Alito. That depends on lying. At the Supreme Court's annual charity event, a woman named Nicole Windsor went up to Justice Alito and said, I don't know, we can negotiate with the left that it needs to happen for the polarization to end. And Justice Alito said there are some fundamental things that really can't be compromised. Well, I can think of lots of Democrats, Republicans, and pundits who would say the same thing. And then Lauren Windsor said, like people in this country who believe in God have got to keep fighting for that to return our country to a place of godliness. And Alito says, well, I agree with you. She used the word godliness. Lauren Windsor is a progressive activist using deception to pretend to be a Christian conservative. And almost nobody questioned the ethics of doing that. It used to be fashionable. Now it's blatantly unethical. With your Media Minute, Howie Kurtz, Fox News.
I've been suggesting you go to Home Furniture's brand new location. They're on Johnston Street, right next to Mazin Grill, across from Acadiana Mall. Do yourself a favor. If you are in the market for furniture or maybe just want to redo a room, go buy Home Furniture. And right now, they're having a big grand opening celebration at all their locations. More furniture, more mattresses, more of everything you want. Style, stock, and of course, on sale. You can get a rocker recliner for just $598. a sofa for $698, a leather reclining sofa for $998, but they didn't stop there. More than 40,000 items with no money down. You can get up to 60 months special financing and next day delivery. I love that. You don't have to worry about bringing a pickup truck and a whole lot of people to make sure that your furniture, the furniture you get, makes it to your house. It's one celebration you don't want to miss at every Home Furniture Plus bedding location. And I want to circle back to that rocker recliner for just $598. What a great Father's Day gift. Yeah, Home Furniture Plus bedding. See store for details. The Rustic Renegade is your one-stop shop in Lafayette for firearms, concealment furniture, men's grooming products, and our locally roasted coffee.
Fox on Tech.
Apple now wants you to exchange money via tipping, like with the tip of your phone. Few people today carry cash, preferring to pay for things electronically in some fashion, like with touching their smartphone or smartwatch to a special reader, which takes payment from a debit or credit card linked through a wallet app. And while we all pay each other back for coffee on apps such as Venmo, Apple Cash allows for sending payments through things like iMessage. There have been a few well-used apps, especially in the Android space, which have allowed two people to transfer cash by tapping phones together. And now Apple introduces the feature native to its Apple Cash within an iPhone's wallet. It's part of the forthcoming upgrade to iOS version 18, due out to the general public in the fall. iPhones already allow for close quarters phone-to-phone transfer of documents, media, and contact information via its AirDrop connectivity. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Plenty of sunshine across Acadiana today. Those temperatures getting up to about 93 degrees. Winds coming from the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Overnight lows tonight going to be dropping down in the low to mid 70s. And then as we look ahead towards the weekend, mid and even upper 90s for Friday and Saturday under sunny skies. Tropical moisture getting in here on Sunday could spark a round of widespread showers starting Sunday and continuing on and off into the work week. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We have a minor traffic accident, Fenetra in Scott, near its intersection with Windstar. Current temperature is 73 degrees. KPEL News Time is 6:24 on this Thursday morning. It is June the 13th. Tracy Words joining you. Mark's out for a little while. And joining me as my sidekick this morning is Jamie Angel. Hey, Jamie.
Good morning.
Jamie is usually in the afternoons kind of with Josh, hanging out, doing stuff. But, yeah, we asked him to come in because I needed somebody to talk to besides myself.
Everybody needs a friend.
That's right. That's right. And you, all of you listening. Jamie, interestingly enough, I wanted to talk a little bit about the man behind the mic because first, you are a veteran.
I am.
Yeah? Is that microphone? You got to have to push the arm. Watch.
All the way up. Yeah. Here we go.
Better? Yeah. See, you got to know the tricks of the trade. Okay. So tell us about your military experience.
Oh, see, I joined the military a little late. You know, I, like many of us, decided media would be a good career field to get into. When I was just a wee little man, a young boy, and you know, started out in TV, worked at KETC a long time ago, and I got burnt out real quick. So I was 24. I was working a couple jobs, you know, hadn't finished school yet, really had no direction, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna just out of the blue join the Army. I did that, and 13 years I stayed. I was planning on making a career out of it.
Really?
But, had some physical ailments after, you know, a few hard years of tough work and a few deployments. And so I medically retired a few years ago and, you know, been trucking along ever since.
No kidding. That's interesting. Now, you did go back to school, or you went to school for part of the meteorology, right?
Actually, I went back to school while I was in the Army.
Okay.
Got my associate's degree in Spanish, got a bachelor's degree in sociology, and then I did start meteorology school. I was actually in meteorology school when COVID hit, And
no kidding.
Just, my studies kind of got pushed aside because at the time I was working at LCG and we were busy.
Yeah.
So, and I've been saying I'm going to get back into it. I'm going to get back into it more as just a hobby, as more of a fascination thing. And I'm going to make the time eventually to get back into it.
Yeah, that's okay.
I only had 2 years left, so.
Well, okay. So from it was funny. We came in this morning and on TV I think it's on Fox News this morning, and they were talking about disturbances in the Gulf. Now they have one that's like it's going to go to Florida, but it's not a big deal. But you said there's something by the Yucatan, and Daniel mentioned in his forecast that tropical moisture would come in over the weekend, but it doesn't look like anything to worry about right now, right?
Well, we're going to get a lot of rain. It looks like, and I, speaking from a St. Martin Parish perspective, I live in Cecilia, and we have made the news way too many times in the last few weeks all the wrong reasons. Anywhere from tornadoes to weekend before last, I know my dad at his house got 12 and a half inches of rain.
Oh, my
We got
goodness.
over 11 inches at our house, and we're talking in 24 hours.
Wow.
So we don't need more rain.
No, we don't. No, you definitely in St. Martin Parish don't need any more rain. So, so what do you like about meteorology?
It's hard. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
There is just something out there so powerful. It's like the power of God. There's nothing we can do to affect it. All we can do is just be at its mercy, and I just find that fascinating. That's one of the things in the world that you have no say so.
No.
So you have to understand it, or else you're in a bind.
I'm a weather geek, so I get it. I mean, one of the most fun parts of my job in TV was sharing the studio with meteorologists who allowed me to pick their brains.
Absolutely.
And I think that most people are fascinated by it.
Oh, yeah. And we both got to work with, one of the greats.
Oh, yeah.
the great Rob.
I worked with Rob. I worked with Dave. I've worked with Daniel. I've worked with Heath and Chris and Trevor. And I'll tell you, there's not one of those people that I can tell you is not passionate about it. Some people go to work and it's like, oh, God, I got to go to work today and I don't want to do this. No, the passion that you see on TV is real. They really, they take their responsibility to the community very seriously. Each of them reacts differently to certain situations. And the one that I think about a lot when it comes to really severe weather is Heath, because he was like, he would almost get ill. He was ill. He was so worried about it. Like he said, I just hope that I can give people the right information without like sounding all these alarms, but also underscoring whatever it was, the severity of this. I worked with him during Laura and Delta and
get people prepared instead of, being so reactionary. And that's one thing we used to always preach, especially in 2020 when we had everything. It was don't panic, prepare.
Yeah.
And right now, more than ever, you have the time to do that. And we're so lucky that we live in a place where we have, meteorologists with so much experience. And they're able to talk us through, but listen to them. Like, prepare. You have time right now.
Right.
Like, let this disturbance in the Gulf be a warning, or be an indicator that, hey, it's hurricane season. And they said it's going to be busy, and it already is.
I saw a hack on social media that actually was pretty brilliant as it relates to hurricane season. We'll talk about that coming up later in the show. KPEL News Time, 6:30.
KPEL covers Acadiana with Lowry's Printing and Copying.
Dr. John W. Sutherland will give a fun and informative presentation about his third environmental book at the Southside Regional Library in Lafayette on Johnston Street, Saturday, June 22nd at 2 p.m. Sutherland has conducted environmental projects worldwide and in Louisiana. His third book, Hogwash, addresses environmental concerns about confined animal feeding operations. First 5 attendees get a free autographed copy. Derek J. Olivier Foundation of Louisiana Scholarship Fund is a fundraiser for young Derek, who lost his life unexpectedly as a college student. The fundraiser is Saturday, June 22nd at Mona Me, 7304 Highway 90 East in Jeanerette, 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Music by EJ the DJ, some delicious food, all for a great cause. Get more details. Call Alma at 337-579-0308.
This is House Call for Health. Weight loss surgery may be the most effective way to lose weight and keep it off the longest. Researchers looking at data from 20,000 weight loss patients through the last few years, discovering weight loss drugs led to as much as a 21% drop in weight, diet and exercise resulting in around a 7% weight loss. But two popular surgical procedures produced a weight loss of around 30% a year after the operation, and patients maintained a 25% weight loss up to 10 years after the surgery was conducted. The co-author of the study says although the surgery is the most durable treatment for severe obesity, it's not used as often as it could be. The research was presented at a scientific meeting for metabolic and bariatric surgery. Research presented at medical meetings should be considered preliminary until it's published in a peer-reviewed medical journal. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the Cape Hill News app. Now the headlines from the Cape Hill News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wertz with a look at news on this Thursday, June 13th. A months-long investigation in St. Landry Parish resulted in the closure of what officials say was a house of prostitution disguised as a spa. Detectives executed a search warrant that revealed several items, including handwritten ledgers and other business documents indicating criminal activity. They also talked to several customers who said two women were offering sexual favors in exchange for cash. Officials say the two women suspects didn't speak English well and were uncooperative during the investigation. The women were booked Tuesday and bonded out a short time later. Bessie has approved a new accountability system for all schools and districts in the state. Grow, Achieve, Thrive reportedly puts more emphasis on making sure students are mastering content and that they're ready for college, service, or careers after graduation. The plan will go into effect for the 25-26 school year. However, simulated scores will be provided for 23-24 and 24-25. Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries agents have arrested 6 people for allegedly committing fraud in hog hunting contests in Caldwell and Bienville parishes. Agents received a tip that the 6 individuals were catching wild hogs in Texas and entering them into Louisiana contests. Hunting fraud brings up to a $3,000 fine and 1 year in jail. According to a Pelican Institute report, population and job growth are stagnant in Louisiana. Chief economist with the Pelican Institute, Vance Ginn, says Louisiana ranks in the bottom 10 in the nation in population growth and unemployment rate. Ginn says lawmakers have already taken one step to improve the state's job climate by passing a law reforming the state's occupational license law. Ginn says getting more people into the workforce will result in more revenue for the state, which he says could ultimately help the state wean itself off the personal income tax. The Louisiana Department of Health is reminding everyone to take precautions against mosquito bites this summer that could carry and expose people to West Nile virus. Mosquitoes are more active in the warmer months, and that increases the risk of contracting the disease. Mosquitoes normally get the virus from dead birds, and while 80% of people show no symptoms, some can develop West Nile fever, which is a flu-like illness that has symptoms of fever, headache, body aches, nausea, and rashes. There's no vaccine for West Nile virus, and the best course of action is preventing bites by wearing long pants and long-sleeve shirts outside and applying EPA-approved mosquito repellent on top of clothes and to exposed skin. To protect your home against mosquitoes that breed in standing water, turn over wheelbarrows, wading pools, buckets, and trash cans, anything that could collect water. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill joined the National Association of Attorneys General to endorse a House resolution bill known as the Child Exploitation and Artificial Intelligence Expert Commission Act of 2024 to target the usage of AI in child exploitation crimes. IT recommends new methods and solutions to improve criminal investigation and prosecution of crimes against children involving AI. You may want to pay extra attention to your mailbox beginning today. The Louisiana State Treasurer will begin mailing checks to residents who have unclaimed cash property. State Treasurer John Fleming says since his department began sharing information with the Department of Revenue through a legislative act in 2018, finding the rightful owners of property is easier. The Saints' 3-day mandatory minicamp started Tuesday, and many players were absent from the Saints OTAs, like Alvin Kamara and Marshawn Lattimore. Kamara reported for the 2024 minicamp on Wednesday and says he hopes to see a lot more intentionality in the Saints offense under new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. And he's excited to get back into a more versatile role in Kubiak's high-motioned offense. He was primarily used out of the backfield last season, but hopes that he can be more involved in both the passing and rushing scheme against Kubiak. The Saints will take on the Cardinals in their first preseason game on August 10th. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wirt.
Hey. Plenty of sunshine across Acadiana today. Those temperatures getting up to about 93 degrees. Winds coming from the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Overnight lows tonight going to be dropping down in the low to mid 70s. And then as we look ahead towards the weekend, mid and even upper 90s for Friday and Saturday under sunny skies. Tropical moisture getting in here on Sunday. Could spark a round of widespread showers starting Sunday and continuing on and off into the work week. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
All right, we don't have any accidents on the roadways this morning early. That's good news. Be careful out there. Let's keep it that way. Current temperature 73 degrees. KPEL News Time is 6:42 on this Thursday morning. It's Thursday already. We're almost halfway through the month of June already, and that also means almost halfway through the year.
Oh, stop.
I know, right? It's true. Yesterday, I did want to mention this. Yesterday, and I need to find it, the Louisiana Department of Education and Bessie approved a new grading system, if you will, for schools. And I'm not going to be able to find it, of course. Here it is. It's called Grow, Achieve, Thrive. Now, this was up before Bessie yesterday morning, and essentially Louisiana is raising the bar for academic success. The three fundamental drivers for this particular initiative are that they are simple and transparent. It will utilize a new 100-point grading scale. Now, this is the way that they measure school success and school system success. High expectation, of course, raising the bar for student outcomes, career and college readiness, and emphasizes career education, college preparation, or military service readiness. And it's when I saw this, I thought about my mom. When we were growing up, I'm the oldest of 7, by the way. 7, yeah.
Wow.
And she said, you have 3 options when you graduate. Or 2. No, it's 2. You can either go to college, university. It was 3. You can go to, at the time it was called trade school, a technical school of some sort, or you can go in the military. You cannot get out of school and go directly into the workplace, because she understood that it was important to be ready to enter the workforce. And so I think that going toward that goal is important. And so hopefully this will get that done. According to Bessie President Ronnie Morris, K-12 education in Louisiana is on a positive trajectory. And this improved and simplified standard for measuring school performance will support that momentum going forward. They do have a scorecard. It's really, actually, it's easy to read, Jamie, but it says a 100-point grading scale. So I would think that in the area of math, the percentage of students growing, how do they measure that? Like, do you look at 100 students, and if 90% of them have improved their grade, or do they need to be at a certain grade? It'll be interesting to see how all of this unravels.
Yeah, and I wonder with the standardized testing play into LEAP scores. I was looking at my daughter. My daughter is going to be a senior. Gosh, just saying it makes me sad. My daughter's going to be a senior in high school this coming school year, and on her final report card, I noticed that there was something about a LEAP test, and it was worth like 15% of her overall grade. And I found that kind of bizarre because I know that Representative Timmy Chassaw had put forth some legislation in this session to kind of not take away, but
reduce the weight.
Reduce the weight of those test scores on kids who traditionally, wouldn't go down that college. They're just not cut out for college.
Right.
They might go that vocational route. And so I find it interesting. And I wonder if they're going to change that and how much weight those test scores have.
Yeah, and because there are things on, it's called Louisiana's Accountability Scorecard. Math, the percentage of students growing. English, the percentage of students growing. Math growth for the lowest 25% of students. English growth for the lowest 25% of students, and what they're calling ELL, which is English Language Acquisition. And I wonder if that's for your ESL students, English as a second language students.
Could be.
Then you have percentage of students who are proficient in math, English, science, and social studies. Again, are those scores based on a standardized test, or do they look at the student grades as a whole? I don't know the answer to that. The percentage of high school students thriving specifically, the graduation rate. What is a school's graduation rate? And probably an entire district's graduation rate. Ready based on nationally recognized exam. Is that the LEAP? Is that an ACT? Yeah. What comes into play there? And accelerated into college coursework, career training, or service, which again means where did they move from there? Kind of my mom's theory of college, tech school, or the military. So it's going to be interesting to see how they bear out. What they will do is they aren't just like saying, okay, it's going to be in effect right this second, and your feet are going to be held to the fire. They will kind of phase it in. Simulated scores will be provided for this past school year, 23-24, then again in 24-25, and the plan will actually go into effect for the 25-26 school year. And I think that's smart because at least it allows schools and school districts to kind of wade in and make adjustments.
The expectations are because, if it's a new system, new program, there's always that learning curve, that time to understand it. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
What I do like is that nowadays high school students are graduating with associate's degrees. And I think that's the coolest thing. My daughter is taking college courses in high school and super smart. Like, let it pay off. It gives them incentive to work harder in high school. And you get something out of it.
Right. Absolutely. No, it's true. And it's not, the early college academy that they offer through Lafayette Parish School System and an SLCC is incredible. One of the offerings that I know my son took advantage of, because by the time he was in high school, this was offered, is the dual enrollment. He finished high school with, 9 or 12 credits. And when I was in school, probably when you were in school too, it was AP, where you had to take the class, then you had to take the test in order to get those credits. And there's probably a lot of benefit in that. But if you can take the class and the tests that go with the class and get that credit, and it's on that same college level, I just think that's smart.
We had the early admissions program, which I did, and it back then I took 3 college courses in the summer between my junior and senior year of high school.
Wow.
Which, you think is pretty great. But while all my friends were out and having fun, enjoying their last summer in high school, I'm there going to college full time and, nerding out. But
well, And you know what? Looking back, that was probably a good decision for you.
No, it was a terrible decision.
Oh.
I got burnt out so quick on college, I ended up joining the Army, which was a good decision. So,
there you go.
There you go.
We'll talk a little bit more about what these components are, but we need to take a break. KPL News Time 6:49.
Democracy 24.
In his first campaign stop since being convicted by a Manhattan jury, former President Trump participated in a town hall in Phoenix. One of the top issues, the border and President Biden's executive action to curb the number of migrants seeking asylum.
I will terminate every single open borders policy of the Biden administration as soon as I take the oath of office.
It was Trump's first visit to this critical battleground state in nearly 2 years. Arizona will help decide not only which party controls the Senate, but the White House. The big question, who can attract the majority of independent voters who make up a third of the state's electorate? The Arizona Democratic Party Chair Yolanda Bejarano says it's not a convicted felon.
This is contrary to the values we grew up with. And I will stop at nothing to ensure that every Arizonan understands what's at stake in this election.
Alicia Acuna, Fox News.
Party at Rock and Bowl all weekend, starting Thursday with Horace Traha. Friday, Neutral Snap plus Zizzy. Saturday, Bo Young Band. And Sunday, Gino Delafosse. Tickets now at rockandbowl.com. God bless you, God love you, and thank God for you.
Plenty of sunshine across Acadiana today. Those temperatures getting up to about 93 degrees. Winds coming from the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Overnight lows tonight going to be dropping down in the low to mid 70s. And then as we look ahead towards the weekend, mid and even upper 90s for Friday and Saturday under sunny skies. Tropical moisture getting in here on Sunday could spark a round of widespread showers starting Sunday and continuing on and off into the work week. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
All right, we don't have any accidents on the roadways. Current temperature is 73 degrees. KPEL News Time is 6:54 on this Thursday, June the 13th. Tracy Wirtz. Mark is out for a while, convalescing. And hanging out with me today is Jamie Angel, who typically hangs out with Josh, but I'm glad we got to steal you. Let me turn it on. There you go. Now they can hear you.
My brain's not so glad right now. I'm still catching up, but I used to do this morning thing just like you. So it all starts to flood back after a while.
Yeah. My brain typically wakes up at 9:00 when the show's over.
Yeah, you get that second wind.
Yeah. I just kind of sleep my way through the rest of it. We were talking about a new measurement system, what they're calling a revised accountability system from the Louisiana Department of Education. It received approval from Bessie yesterday. It's called Grow, Achieve, Thrive. The scorecard is pretty straightforward. I'm sure if you're an educator and know the jargon, et cetera, within that sphere. For the rest of us, grow means simply schools will be measured by the number of students growing in math and English, with special attention paid to growing the lowest achieving students and supporting English learners as they learn the English language. We talked about that on the scorecard. Achieve, schools will be measured by the number of students who are proficient in math, English, science, and social studies. Again, the questions for both of these are, how do you define proficient? Is it by grade? Is it by standardized test? How do you measure that? Then Thrive is directed mostly at high schools. High schools will be measured on the number of students graduating on time, showing readiness on a nationally recognized exam, and prepared to accelerate by earning college credit or high-value career credentials with work experience. And, we talked about earning college credit, but there are programs where high school students can come out trained in things like welding or nursing, all of those HVAC systems, and those are extremely lucrative careers.
Especially plumbing, electrical.
Oh, yeah.
My only question is the grow. in my mind, the way I see it is that every school should see 100% in the growth, because that's what a school is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you have students, if your number is less than 100%, you have students that aren't learning anything. That's a huge problem.
And with educational measurement, it is on a percentage scale. So I agree with that. But and as I mentioned earlier, you need to understand the jargon involved and how that data is used to determine those benchmarks.
The school system, to me, is a completely different language.
Oh, yeah.
Common Core, I don't get it.
No, me either. KPEL News Time is 6:57. We have national and local news on the way.
The Fox Business Report is brought to you by Gulf Coast Bank, your local community bank. Whether your financial needs are for an individual, a business, or for the whole family, Gulf Coast Bank has the knowledge and products to serve you best. With 9 convenient locations throughout Acadiana, you're never far from a friendly Gulf Coast Bank associate.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
We're expecting to find out today if shareholders approve Tesla chief executive Elon Musk's pay package and decision to reincorporate the company from Delaware to Texas. Musk says preliminary voting results indicate shareholders are approving the pay and company relocation by wide margins. Shareholders can change their votes until the polls close at today's meetings. Musk's pay package was recently valued at about $46 billion. It initially passed in 2018, but was rescinded by a Delaware judge, so Tesla put the package up for a new vote. Broadcom shares are up 12% this morning after it reported another quarter of strong demand, especially for its artificial intelligence products, and Broadcom also is planning a 10-for-1 stock split. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette.
They have a lot on their agenda. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Biden and other world leaders meeting now at the G7 summit in Italy.
Ceasefire talks in Gaza, Russia's war on Ukraine, trade imbalances with China, AI threats, and then developmental issues in Africa.
And Fox's Peter Ducey. President Biden will also meet with Ukraine's President Zelensky and sign a security agreement. There's also a NATO meeting.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is in Brussels with counterparts from more than 50 nations, and air defense for Ukraine is high on the agenda. Not all NATO members are fully on board. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban is close to Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Hungarians say they won't contribute to Ukraine's defense, but they won't block NATO allies from helping either.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Biden's border executive order is being challenged in court. The ACLU and others allege that his attempts to limit asylum are illegal and similar to Trump policies. Meanwhile, a Homeland Security Inspector General report obtained by Fox concludes the government is not effectively screening and vetting migrants entering the U.S. illegally. This after 8 terror suspects in the country illegally were arrested. Republican Senator Tom Cotton tells Fox.
This is, in effect, a ticking time bomb, that a border is wide open and that terrorists from all around the world could come here and plot attacks against the American people.
Cotton and other Senate Republicans will meet with former President Trump today in his first trip to the Capitol since the infamous January 6th riot. He'll meet with House Republicans first next hour. Yet another campus protest got ugly overnight in Los Angeles.
A peaceful Gaza solidarity encampment suddenly turned up the heat at Cal State. Up to 100 pro-Palestinian protesters took over the Student Services building, vandalizing windows, blocking exits, stranding administrators and employees, including the university president, reportedly for hours.
That's Fox's Chanley Painter. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call.
If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-887-1010. That's 800-887-1010.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wirtz with a look at news on this Thursday, June 13th. A months-long investigation in St. Landry Parish resulted in the closure of what officials say was a house of prostitution disguised as a spa. Detectives executed a search warrant that revealed several items, including handwritten ledgers and other business documents indicating criminal activity. They also talked to several customers who said 2 women were offering sexual favors in exchange for cash. Officials say the 2 women suspects didn't speak English well and were uncooperative during the investigation. The women were booked Tuesday and bonded out a short time later. Bessie has approved a new accountability system for all schools and districts in the state. Grow, Achieve, Thrive reportedly puts more emphasis on making sure students are mastering content and that they're ready for college, service, or careers after graduation. The plan will go into effect for the 25-26 school year. However, simulated scores will be provided for 23-24 and 24-25. Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries agents have arrested 6 people for allegedly committing fraud in hog hunting contests in Caldwell and Bienville parishes. Agents received a tip that the 6 individuals were catching wild hogs in Texas and entering them into Louisiana contests. Hunting fraud brings up to a $3,000 fine and 1 year in jail. According to a Pelican Institute report, population and job growth are stagnant in Louisiana. Chief economist with the Pelican Institute, Vance Ginn, says Louisiana ranks in the bottom 10 in the nation in population growth and unemployment rate. Ginn says lawmakers have already taken one step to improve the state's job climate by passing a law reforming the state's occupational license law. Ginn says getting more people into the workforce will result in more revenue for the state, which he says could ultimately help the state wean itself off the personal income tax. You may want to pay extra attention to your mailbox beginning today. The Louisiana State Treasurer will begin mailing checks to residents who have unclaimed cash property. State Treasurer John Fleming says since his department began sharing information with the Department of Revenue through a legislative act in 2018, finding the rightful owners of property is easier. The Saints' 3-day mandatory minicamp started Tuesday, and many players were absent from the Saints OTAs, like Alvin Kamara and Marshawn Lattimore. Kamara reported for the 2024 minicamp on Wednesday and says he hopes to see a lot more intentionality in the Saints offense under new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. And he's excited to get back into a more versatile role in Kubiak's high-motioned offense. He was primarily used out of the backfield last season, but hopes that he can be more involved in both the passing and rushing scheme against Kubiak. The Saints will take on the Cardinals in their first preseason game on August 10th. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wirtz. Your KPEL News Update brought to you by Home Furniture Plus Bedding with over 40,000 furniture and mattress choices in stock. Take a look at homefern.com.
Plenty of sunshine across Acadiana today. Those temperatures getting up to about 93 degrees. Winds coming from the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Overnight lows tonight going to be dropping down in the low to mid 70s. And then as we look ahead towards the weekend, mid and even upper 90s for Friday and Saturday under sunny skies. Tropical moisture getting in here on Sunday. Could spark a round of widespread showers starting Sunday and continuing on and off into the work week. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Still smooth sailing on the roads of Lafayette today. Be very careful out there. Let's see if we can keep it that way. It's a little cooler now, 72 degrees, and not as humid this morning. Feels nice out there. KPEL News Time 7:09.
From the nation's capital and the military district of Washington, today's colors will be presented by the Armed Forces Color Guard and Drummers and the President's own United States Marine Band. To honor America with the performance of the national anthem, 8-time Grammy Award winner, Chris Stapleton.
Oh, see, and you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular of Mossberg singing up, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
Good morning and welcome into Acadiana's morning news on this Thursday, June 13th. Hard to believe that half the month is almost done. Tracy Words joining you. Joining me as a guest this morning is Jamie Angel, but it's Thursday, 7 o'clock hour. That means Lafayette Live, and we are joined by Lafayette Mayor President Monique Blanco-Boulay. And it was a late night for you last night, huh?
Yes, it was. Good morning.
Good
morning. Good
morning.
morning. I got the honor of going over and visiting with Lauren Daigle. You know, she was in town last night for a concert. It was the last concert for her Kaleidoscope tour, which she said they have done 62 shows.
Oh, wow.
So Lauren, you know, really, I was in that concert. She had Keith Frank open and she had Mark Broussard. They were both phenomenal. But I started thinking about all of our homegrown talent. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. You know, we have people who love Lafayette, love Acadiana, who traveled the world with their talents. And Lauren said it several times. When she's in concert, she's talking about Louisiana.
Yeah.
You know, you can feel her passion and her love. And she's so happy to be home.
Yeah.
I got to meet her family, her parents, her aunts, her grandmother.
Do they still live in St. Martin Parish, Bro Bridge, or where do they?
Karen Crow.
Karen Crow. Okay, that's where they were. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was originally
Yeah.
Bro Bridge or something. I don't know why I thought that. I'm probably wrong.
That's where all the great folks are from.
Yeah, Jamie
There was a
pumping
group.
St. Martin Parish.
There was a group from St. Martin Parish in front of us. There was
Uh-huh.
a big group. I think this Ushla group A lot of them were there.
Yeah,
it was a special day for Richard Juschlag's family as well. You know, his funeral was yesterday, and that too, I mean, for me, I don't know, yesterday was a moving day. It was very powerful. He will leave a big hole in this community, but he came, you know, originally from Pennsylvania, came here, fell in love with Lafayette, fell in love with Louisiana. And when you think back, you know, not only did he create a business that is a huge asset, a financial asset, but he changed the way we care for people. There's a funny story. Before Acadian, the funeral homes picked up sick people.
Really?
To bring them to the hospital. I don't want to say it's on air.
Yeah, that's a little.
But they got more money if they made it to the funeral home.
Yeah, well, you know, it makes sense.
No, I mean,
well, it is what it is.
That's kind of a joke, but yeah. But so building Acadian Ambulance really changed the way we care for each other.
Yeah.
So that company is much more than a financial asset, and he set a standard that today exists across the country.
Right.
You know, they also really developed AirMed here.
Mm-hmm.
It was the oil and gas demand, right? And my Uncle Errol, shout out to Uncle Errol Babineau, he built out the first helicopter to go offshore. I mean, physically took, I think it was one of those PHI helicopters and built it out.
To be a medical helicopter?
To be a medical helicopter.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's
so
fascinating.
They really have led the way in ambulance care. And so much more. And so, you know, Richard and I spent some time last year together, and I wanted to say this. There was something about him that maybe you don't see on the front, you know, on the business logo, but he was a very deep, prayerful person.
Really?
And spent some time telling me, you know, about his prayer life and how at peace he was, which is such a gift.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No,
it's
it
such a
is.
gift for his family, for the legacy he left behind. And so anyway, I do, thinking about Richard Juschlag, thinking about Lauren Daigle, and the amazing people that we have here, that is, you know, that is our special niche.
No, it is. That's our secret sauce.
Yeah, it's
Most
our secret
definitely.
sauce. It's our people.
Yeah.
And there are
most
so
definitely.
many great examples.
Well, and you know, one of the things that struck me as I read the tributes that came out after Richard passed away, from all of the different places, from LCG, from LEDA, from the school board, just name them. And when you read those tributes, the specific instances of ways that he gave back to the community that were not just because of Acadian Ambulance. It was because of his passion for education, or because of his passion to see Lafayette and Lafayette Parish and Louisiana thrive. You know, and that is what struck me as I read through all of those tributes that came through, is how many people he touched in ways that were not necessarily related to Acadian Ambulance.
You know, somebody told me yesterday he got up every day and he wanted to make a difference in somebody's life. And so he set out to do that. And so he would find one person every day to help. And, you know, not necessarily from a business perspective.
Right.
You know, and I think we've heard similar stories about Red Laurel.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
improvements every month or something, and you see it. You
Right.
see that kind of impact when you are doing something every day or every month to make a difference, to help people. It grows, and it spreads, and it, you know.
He really put ambulance services in reach of the average person, and made it affordable with the membership. I remember as a kid.
Oh, yeah, the
used
membership
to have the
drive.
membership drive.
I know that's so funny, but you know they did that because they didn't have revenue.
Yeah, they would
So
take.
they ran 25 years in the black. I mean, in the red, and that is how they kept it going.
Was with their membership.
They would bump Wheel of Fortune on a certain day.
Yeah.
And but it really did. I had a lot of old folks in my family, and they can't afford those high ambulance bills, and it made it to a point where if they did, they weren't scared to call an ambulance if they needed one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's and as you talked about helping people, whether it's Richard or Red Laurel, is. Those are two men who have been obviously financially blessed throughout their lives. But I think the message is that everybody can do that.
Yes.
Because it didn't have to be money. It could be a smile. It could be offering somebody advice. It could be, anything, saying hello to somebody. And help, the term help is very subjective and it's very different for everybody. And I think that if we think, oh, well, I can't help anybody, I'm not in a financial position to do that, you absolutely can. And I think that he would appreciate people using him as an example in that way.
Right. As part of his legacy.
Absolutely.
And look, I went to the funeral. I went to the visitation the day before. So many people at both. If you passed Pius Church in the last 2 days, you felt it. Because he touched people individually.
Oh, yeah.
He touched families. He touched people. He was a part of my family from the time I was a child, and really did have a big impact on both of my parents as well as our whole family. We spent a lot of time out at, you hear about the Grandview Hunting Lodge. We spent a lot of time there, and that was a gift. That was a gift for us. The memories we have, our kids grew up out there. He understood. He also understood politics, like most people don't.
Right.
He understood politics.
In Louisiana, you have to be a successful business owner. You certainly have to understand politics.
And he understood, the demand of politics. I should say that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I just really want to stop and just say thank you to his family.
Yeah,
they're going through a hard time. It's a lot. It's a beautiful experience to go through what they have in the last 2 days. I can tell you that. But it will be tough for them.
Yeah.
They will miss him greatly. And this community will as well.
Absolutely. We're visiting with Lafayette Mayor President Monique Blanco-Boulay, Lafayette Live today. We're going to take a break and come back and talk about some projects going on around the city. KPEL News Time is 7:20. Hi.
Plenty of sunshine across Acadiana today. Those temperatures getting up to about 93 degrees. Winds coming from the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Overnight lows tonight going to be dropping down in the low to mid 70s. And then as we look ahead towards the weekend, mid and even upper 90s for Friday and Saturday under sunny skies. Tropical moisture getting in here on Sunday. Could spark a round of widespread showers starting Sunday and continuing on and off into the work week. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Okay. I almost feel like I'm going to jinx it, but there are no accidents on the roads. The roads are clear. Let's try to keep. Maybe we can have a perfect morning in terms of the roads. Current temperature is 72 degrees. KPEL News Time is 7:25 on this Thursday morning. Thursday in the 7 o'clock hour, we are joined by Lafayette Consolidated Government representatives, and every other week we are joined by Lafayette.
KPEL covers Acadiana with Lowry's Printing and Copying.
Dr. John W. Sutherland will give a fun and informative presentation about his third environmental book at the Southside Regional Library in Lafayette on Johnston Street, Saturday, June 22nd at 2 p.m. Sutherland has conducted environmental projects worldwide and in Louisiana. His third book, Hogwash, addresses environmental concerns about confined animal feeding operations. First 5 attendees get a free autographed copy. Derek J. Olivier Foundation of Louisiana Scholarship Fund is a fundraiser for young Derek, who lost his life unexpectedly as a college student. The fundraiser is Saturday, June 22nd at Mona Me, 7304 Highway 90 East in Jeanerette, 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Music by EJ the DJ, some delicious food, all for a great cause. Get more details. Call Alma at 337-579-0308.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wirtz with a look at news on this Thursday, June 13th. A months-long investigation in St. Landry Parish resulted in the closure of what officials say was a house of prostitution disguised as a spa. Detectives executed a search warrant that revealed several items, including handwritten ledgers and other business documents indicating criminal activity. They also talked to several customers who said 2 women were offering sexual favors in exchange for cash. Officials say the 2 women suspects didn't speak English well and were uncooperative during the investigation. The women were booked Tuesday and bonded out a short time later. Bessie has approved a new accountability system for all schools and districts in the state. Grow, Achieve, Thrive reportedly puts more emphasis on making sure students are mastering content and that they're ready for college, service, or careers after graduation. The plan will go into effect for the 25-26 school year. However, simulated scores will be provided for 23-24 and 24-25. Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries agents have arrested 6 people for allegedly committing fraud in hog hunting contests in Caldwell and Bienville parishes. Agents received a tip that the 6 individuals were catching wild hogs in Texas and entering them into Louisiana contests. Hunting fraud brings up to a $3,000 fine and 1 year in jail. According to a Pelican Institute report, population and job growth are stagnant in Louisiana. Chief economist with the Pelican Institute, Vance Ginn, says Louisiana ranks in the bottom 10 in the nation in population growth and unemployment rate. Ginn says lawmakers have already taken one step to improve the state's job climate by passing a law reforming the state's occupational license law. Ginn says getting more people into the workforce will result in more revenue for the state, which he says could ultimately help the state wean itself off the personal income tax. The Louisiana Department of Health is reminding everyone to take precautions against mosquito bites this summer that could carry and expose people to West Nile virus. Mosquitoes are more active in the warmer months, and that increases the risk of contracting the disease. Mosquitoes normally get the virus from dead birds, and while 80% of people show no symptoms, some can develop West Nile fever, which is a flu-like illness that has symptoms of fever, headache, body aches, nausea, and rashes. There's no vaccine for West Nile virus, and the best course of action is preventing bites by wearing long pants and long-sleeve shirts outside and applying EPA-approved mosquito repellent on top of clothes and to exposed skin. To protect your home against mosquitoes that breed in standing water, turn over wheelbarrows, wading pools, buckets, and trash cans, anything that could collect water. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill joined the National Association of Attorneys General to endorse a House resolution bill known as the Child Exploitation and Artificial Intelligence Expert Commission Act of 2024 to target the usage of AI in child exploitation crimes. IT recommends new methods and solutions to improve criminal investigation and prosecution of crimes against children involving AI. You may want to pay extra attention to your mailbox beginning today. The Louisiana State Treasurer will begin mailing checks to residents who have unclaimed cash property. State Treasurer John Fleming says since his department began sharing information with the Department of Revenue through a legislative act in 2018, finding the rightful owners of property is easier. The Saints' 3-day mandatory minicamp started Tuesday, and many players were absent from the Saints' OTAs, like Alvin Kamara and Marshawn Lattimore. Kamara reported for the 2024 minicamp on Wednesday and says he hopes to see a lot more intentionality in the Saints' offense under new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. And he's excited to get back into a more versatile role in Kubiak's high-motioned offense. He was primarily used out of the backfield last season, but hopes that he can be more involved in both the passing and rushing scheme against Kubiak. The Saints will take on the Cardinals in their first preseason game on August 10th. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy.
Plenty of sunshine across Acadiana today. Those temperatures getting up to about 93 degrees. Winds coming from the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Overnight lows tonight going to be dropping down in the low to mid 70s. And then as we look ahead towards the weekend, mid and even upper 90s for Friday and Saturday under sunny skies. Tropical moisture getting in here on Sunday. Could spark a round of widespread showers starting Sunday and continuing on and off into the work week. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
All right, still no accidents on the roadways. That's good news. Current temperature is 72 degrees. Doesn't feel bad outside because we've got low humidity. KPEL News Time is 7:39 on this Thursday morning. And Thursdays during the 7 o'clock hour, we're joined by Lafayette Mayor President Monique Blanco-Boulay, or a representative from LCG. But the lady who sits in the big chair herself is here, and we are so excited for that. Let's talk about storm debris pickup. Can you, I mean, a month later, we're still having to deal with this. It's crazy.
So a few things. One, let me remind people we had Category 1
hurricane winds. Yeah.
Correct. And so we had a lot. 22,000 cubic yards of debris is a lot.
That's been picked up already, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Collected so far. And we still have some left. So the trucks will be completing their first pass on the 17th and starting their second. It will take 1 to 2 weeks to do that second pass.
Okay.
And I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of debris we've had to pick up. It was a bad storm. But let me say, we are looking at processes all the time, and we'll be better next time.
Yeah.
I will say that. I can't say it's going to be quick when we have this much debris, but we will do it better next time. We are looking across the board at our emergency preparedness, at everything. And so this is one of those areas that will be reevaluated.
So first pass and second pass. So they'll just, will they revisit the areas again?
Yeah, so the trucks are organized by day, right?
Okay.
If you're a Monday pickup, one of the companies has Monday, one has Tuesday. And I don't.
Yeah.
I think we have 3 different companies and Public Works.
Got it.
You know, so it's divided like that, and they will just come back through. They will, that company will focus on the people that have Monday pickups.
Okay.
And they'll come back through. They're going to go back through all of the streets and just pick up what's left.
Yeah, because there may be people, too, who didn't have time to clean up everything.
Well, and not everybody can clear a tree the first weekend, right? It does take some people a few weeks to get everything to the curb.
So whether they have things that need to be picked up now, or let's say even after the fact or at the tail end, they still have things, they should contact someone at LCG. I think we mentioned 311 or something.
Yes, they can call 311.
Okay.
If they want to make sure we have them on the list. But we should be going through all the streets. But do reach out if you want to make sure we have your address.
Yeah, and look, Jamie mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the storms, the waves, whatever you want to call them, the disturbances that are, one of them is affecting Florida right now with just a lot of rain, and there's something in the Yucatan, Bay of Campeche, that's it, near the Yucatan Peninsula that's going to bring us some rain. But he mentioned earlier that now's the time to be thinking about ways that you're going to respond. Like we talked about it previously. Mm-hmm. Look at the trees that are leaning. Look at the branches that may look conspicuous or dangerous.
Weakened maybe from the previous little thunderstorms we've had.
Check your trees, too, because I have crepe myrtles in my front yard, and one of them is, I didn't notice, it cracked in half because of the storm, and it's leaning, and if another wind comes through, well, guess what? That's going down.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got a good pruning, but we also weakened some trees. Yeah. And so do take a look at that. Think about evacuation plans. I know, that's a big leap, but we don't know what we're going to be faced with this year. These little storms, I think, have us on our toes, certainly from an administrative perspective. And I would hope all people are kind of thinking through different scenarios if we're faced with a serious storm. Right. How do we care for our families? How do we care for our elderly, the most vulnerable people that need help to get out, who maybe should leave earlier than others? Right. Be thinking about that. Put your plan together. Get your batteries. Get your flashlights. Mm-hmm. If it's bad, be ready to be without electricity for a significant amount of time. That's, things like that. Just be thinking about those things as we enter hurricane season.
And your pets. I just have to underscore that. You can't take your pets with you just any shelter. So make sure that if you have, and dropping them off at the animal shelter is not an option. That should never be an option. Let's talk real quickly about budget. I know, it's never fun, right?
Yeah, no, it's not fun right now. We are in budget. I'm going to say that. The administration is working through the budget process. We will give a balanced budget to the council, and then it will go through another process. Right now, we're adjusting a lot of things. one of the issues we're having is uninsured losses. It's much greater than we expected.
Right.
It's impacting every department.
Right.
And so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because we're going to work through some of these things. We're going to figure it out. We are starting out with less revenue than we had last year, although we're projecting, larger. There's a reassessment year coming. We're projecting areas, but because of those uninsured losses, it's
taking a toll. Huh?
It's taking a toll.
When is the fiscal year?
October, November.
Okay,
switches over at the end of October.
Yeah. Okay. I know that some are July. Some, they're all over the map. So October. So you guys are working through it now to get to the council. And don't you have like a public comment period or something like that?
Yeah, when the council goes through it, it'll be open to the public, and we will take in public comment.
All right, sounds
absolutely.
Good. Always, always, always a pleasure, and I'm glad that you got to go talk to Lauren Daigle last night. And I'm sorry for the loss of your family friend, Mr. Richard Zusloff.
Yeah, and I want to thank Lauren.
Yeah.
She put on an electrifying concert. The people were so excited in that stadium. And I think she genuinely enjoyed being here at home with her family and all of the people in the audience. It's a great concert.
She's definitely a Lafayette treasure, as are many of our musicians. Lafayette Mayor President Monique Blanco-Boulay, Lafayette Live each Thursday morning in the 7 o'clock hour. Again, always, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. KPEL News Time is 7:45.
Democracy 24.
In his first campaign stop since being convicted by a Manhattan jury, former President Trump participated in a town hall in Phoenix. One of the top issues, the border and President Biden's executive action to curb the number of migrants seeking asylum.
I will terminate every single open borders policy of the Biden administration as soon as I take the oath of office.
It was Trump's first visit to this critical battleground state in nearly 2 years. Arizona will help decide not only which party controls the Senate, but the White House. The big question, who can attract the majority of independent voters who make up a third of the state's electorate? The Arizona Democratic Party Chair Yolanda Bejarano says it's not a convicted felon.
This is contrary to the values we grew up with. And I will stop at nothing to ensure that every Arizonan understands what's at stake in this election.
Alicia Acuna, Fox News.
Securing America.
President Biden will sign a new security agreement on Thursday with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky at the G7 summit in Italy. G7 leaders have reportedly agreed to provide Ukraine with $50 billion backed by frozen Russian assets. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan on why continuing aid is important.
Our view is that Ukraine's security is central to Europe's security and therefore central to America's security.
The U.S. will reportedly send Ukraine a new Patriot missile defense system. Defense Department Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh saying this Wednesday.
We know air defenses are a priority for Ukraine. It's something that they need, whether it be in the Patriot or other forms.
Sullivan says there is a line, though, that for now will not be crossed.
They have asked for our weapons and assistance as they fight to defend their territory. They have not asked our forces to join the fight.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Plenty of sunshine across Acadiana today. Those temperatures getting up to about 93 degrees. Winds good from the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Overnight lows tonight going to be dropping down in the low to mid 70s. And then as we look ahead towards the weekend, mid and even upper 90s for Friday and Saturday under sunny skies. Tropical moisture getting in here on Sunday. Could spark a round of widespread showers starting Sunday and continuing on and off into the work week. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
All right. We do have an accident. Actually, it's a hit and run. The Lafayette Parish Sheriff is reporting that the suspect left the scene on Austria Road in Dusau. So if you saw anything happen there, you might want to give the Lafayette Parish Sheriff's Office a call because I'm sure that they would appreciate any information that they can get. Current temperature is 72 degrees. KPEL News Time is 7:52 on this Thursday, June the 13th. And we have a very special guest in the studio this morning. Her name is Marie Landreneau. And Marie, you are about to do something incredible. First of all, let's find out a little bit about you. You graduated from St. Thomas More this year.
Yes, ma'am.
What are your plans after?
I'm going to go and swim at the University of Georgia in Athens.
Awesome. Okay, so you heard the operative word there, Jamie, swim. Now, you are going to be headed to, what is it, Indianapolis?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you going to be doing there?
I'm going to be competing at Olympic trials in the 200-meter freestyle.
How cool is that?
That is, we're sitting next to a potential Olympian.
No kidding. No, you really, we were talking off mic, you've kind of put this in perspective. First of all, we need to let folks know that you aren't the only person from Lafayette going, correct?
Right.
Who else is joining you?
Jillian Barczyk.
Okay. Now she is, she's from Lafayette, the daughter of someone we know, Dr. Barczyk. You might recognize the name. Now, what happens once you get there? Tell us that first.
Once I get
What happens when you get to Indianapolis?
So once I get there, I'm going to have to check in and they give us some stuff. And then I'm going to have to, I leave tomorrow. So hopefully I can get in the water a little bit and get used to the pool while I'm there. And just kind of get used to the atmosphere while I'm there before I compete.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, how does this work? Is there a qualifying time? Do you race against somebody? How does that work?
So you have to, in every event, you have to go a certain time to be able to qualify for Olympic trials. And in 200 free, the qualifying time was 2 minutes and 89 milliseconds. So
wow, down to the millisecond.
200. I was just trying to picture in my head how far 200 meters are.
It's 4 laps in an Olympic-sized pool.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you.
So 100 meters would be kind of like a football field, right? The meter is about a yard, right?
A little shorter, I think.
A little shorter?
I'm just getting tired thinking about
I know,
swimming.
right? Well, I mean, but think about it. Even if you use that as a guide or a gauge, it's 3 to 4 football fields. And how quickly did you swim it?
2 minutes and 27 milliseconds.
It would take me that long to get used to the water.
Yeah, just to get in the pool.
Okay, so Marie, you really put it in perspective before you came on, in that you, of course, if you got in, it would be great, but you have some perspective that this may not be the year for you.
Yes, ma'am. So there's only 2 people that get to make it every year, and this year I'm just really grateful to be able to go and get that experience, especially before college, and hopefully use it as a stepping stone for next time, because next Olympics it's definitely a goal for me.
Yeah, you're going to go then. Now, you said there's 2 people who are selected. Is that nationally or just in the state?
Yes, ma'am. So Olympic trials is it's the fastest people in the nation, and it's the people who get first and second in the event.
Wow.
And then they take in 2 events, and 200-meter freestyle and 100-meter freestyle, they take 3 to 4 extra people for relays.
Okay. Now, there are only 5 swimmers that are going to be competing, right? Am I reading that right? It said you are 2 of only 5 swimmers hailing from Louisiana to qualify for the fastest Olympic trial competition to date.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. So how many people are going to be in Indianapolis with you?
From Louisiana, only 4 other people.
Okay.
How about total? How many people are you going to be competing against across the country?
So there's, including men and women, there's going to be around 730 people in the meet. And then women, there's around 300 to 400. And then in my event, there's just 50 people.
Wow. Wow.
So chances are pretty good.
Well, no kidding. And you're one of only that many people that are making it to the Olympic trials. That is, how exciting. What did you do when you found out that you'd be able to go compete at the trials?
So I've been trying for about 2 months now. I knew I was capable for about the past year and a half, but the past 2 months I've been trying, and it was my 13th attempt to go the time is whenever I got it. So I was really excited, really relieved, and it was a really, really cool experience. There was a lot of love in the building, and I don't know, it was just really, really sweet. Not even really getting the cut, just seeing how much love people can give.
Did you already get your passport just in case?
Oh, no.
Well, you better get it. I mean,
She's not jinxing herself.
the
She's not
Olympics are-
jinxing herself.
It takes about 6 weeks, so you better get on that.
Marie Landreneau on her way to Indianapolis to compete in the 200-meter freestyle for the Olympics. Pretty exciting stuff. Good luck. We'll be cheering you on from afar.
Thank you. And I swim for City of Lafayette. Of course.
Okay, so Cola. So she swims with Cola. I forgot to do that part. Good luck, Marie. We definitely will be cheering you on. KPEL News Time, 7:57.
This Fox Business Report is brought to you by Walter Campbell and Deborah Pierce of Keller Williams Realty. For all of your commercial property needs, reach out to Walter and Deborah today.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Jewelry giant Signet says sales are recovering from a sluggish February, and May's business was strong. Signet is parent of Zales, Jared K, and Diamonds Direct. It says customers are responding to its new products and loyalty program, so it's standing by its forecast for the year. The stock is up 1%. Wall Street will be reacting today to the producer price index for May, prices at the wholesale level. Tesla's annual shareholder meeting is today. CEO Elon Musk says his huge pay deal and proposal to reincorporate the company in Texas are expected to pass. Also, Tesla says it will raise the price of Model 3 electric cars in the European Union. The EU decided to impose new tariffs on EVs imported from China. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette.
Since just before the January 6th riot when he was still president. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. But Donald Trump is back this morning, about to meet this hour with House Republicans and then later with Senate Republicans, including Tom Cotton, who tells Fox
extending and maybe even making better and stronger the great Trump tax cuts of 2017, securing our border, rebuilding our military, and restoring respect for America around the world.
The former president will hold a news conference afterward at around 1:30 Eastern. Last night in Washington, protesters stormed the field at a congressional charity baseball game that Republicans won, beating Democrats 31-11. 8 of the protesters with the group Climate Defiance were arrested. Some pro-Palestinian demonstrators also escorted out of the stadium. Another pro-Palestinian protest escalated on another college campus, Cal State in Los Angeles.
Up to 100 protesters who've been camped out for over a month, seizing a student services building, straining administrators and employees for hours who are instructed for a time to shelter in place. Now, staff members are now, fortunately, safe and sound.
Fox's Griff Jenkins. President Biden's in Italy, meeting with world leaders at the G7 summit.
The president has been in working meetings the last couple hours, basically huge roundtables where G7 leaders ask each other for help with big problems.
Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House. The president will also meet with Ukraine's leader and sign a security agreement further helping in the battle against Russia. A tropical disturbance keeps raining down in South Florida, where there's flooding and states of emergency declared from Miami to Fort Lauderdale over to Sarasota. And Fox meteorologist Janice Dean says
some of these areas that have received close to a foot or more will get an additional 3 to 5, 5 to 8 inches, especially around Fort Myers.
We just got another update showing tamer inflation last month, this time at the wholesale level. Producer prices dropped 0.2% from April, and the annual rate of increase dropped slightly, 2.2%. America's listening to Fox News.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free. explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-887-1010. That's 800-887-1010.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the Cape Hill News app. Now the headlines from the Cape Hill News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wertz with a look at news on this Thursday, June 13th. A months-long investigation in St. Landry Parish resulted in the closure of what officials say was a house of prostitution disguised as a spa. Detectives executed a search warrant that revealed several items, including handwritten ledgers and other business documents indicating criminal activity. They also talked to several customers who said two women were offering sexual favors in exchange for cash. Officials say the two women suspects didn't speak English well and were uncooperative during the investigation. The women were booked Tuesday and bonded out a short time later. Bessie has approved a new accountability system for all schools and districts in the state. Grow, Achieve, Thrive reportedly puts more emphasis on making sure students are mastering content and that they're ready for college, service, or careers after graduation. The plan will go into effect for the 25-26 school year. However, simulated scores will be provided for 23-24 and 24-25. Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries agents have arrested 6 people for allegedly committing fraud in hog hunting contests in Caldwell and Bienville parishes. Agents received a tip that the 6 individuals were catching wild hogs in Texas and entering them into Louisiana contests. Hunting fraud brings up to a $3,000 fine and 1 year in jail. According to a Pelican Institute report, population and job growth are stagnant in Louisiana. Chief economist with the Pelican Institute, Vance Ginn, says Louisiana ranks in the bottom 10 in the nation in population growth and unemployment rate. Ginn says lawmakers have already taken one step to improve the state's job climate by passing a law reforming the state's occupational license law. Ginn says getting more people into the workforce will result in more revenue for the state, which he says could ultimately help the state wean itself off the personal income tax. You may want to pay extra attention to your mailbox beginning today. The Louisiana State Treasurer will begin mailing checks to residents who have unclaimed cash property. State Treasurer John Fleming says since his department began sharing information with the Department of Revenue through a legislative act in 2018, finding the rightful owners of property is easier. The Saints' 3-day mandatory minicamp started Tuesday, and many players were absent from the Saints OTAs, like Alvin Kamara and Marshawn Lattimore. Kamara reported for the 2024 minicamp on Wednesday and says he hopes to see a lot more intentionality in the Saints offense under new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. And he's excited to get back into a more versatile role in Kubiak's high-motioned offense. He was primarily used out of the backfield last season, but hopes that he can be more involved in both the passing and rushing scheme against Kubiak. The Saints will take on the Cardinals in their first preseason game on August 10th. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wertz. Trucks, cars, and SUVs. Buckle up. Every seat, every time, day and night. It saves lives, and it's the law.
Plenty of sunshine across Acadiana today. Those temperatures getting up to about 93 degrees. Winds coming from the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Overnight lows tonight going to be dropping down in the low to mid 70s. And then as we look ahead towards the weekend, mid and even upper 90s for Friday and Saturday under sunny skies. Tropical moisture getting in here on Sunday could spark a round of widespread showers starting Sunday and continuing on and off into the work week. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
All right, taking a look at traffic on this Thursday morning. No accidents. That's good news. Current temperature is 72 degrees. Good morning and welcome back into Acadiana's morning news. KPEL News Time is 8:09 and I'm joined today. This is Tracy Wirtz. I'm joined today by Jamie Angel, and walking in the studio in just a minute is Jenny Higgins with St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office. Yeah, it's been a morning where we've been all over the place with Jenny, I almost forgot you. Come on and sit down. Pull up a mic. Wade in. The water's warm. I know. Jenny Higgins, one of my absolute favorite people on the planet, with St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office. How are you doing other than the fact that I left you in the lobby?
Not a problem. How are you?
It's my fault. I was distracting.
Not a problem.
No, it's okay, Jamie. I'll take that lick. Believe me, it was 100% me. Jenny, first of all, let me ask how St. Martin Parish, because, Jamie lives in St. Martin Parish.
Yeah.
He does.
Okay, well, so you were part of all the...
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what the sheriff asked me to talk to y'all about today.
Yeah, I was going to say, how are you guys doing? What's going on?
We're doing great. I mean, the community is so awesome. I mean, everybody just helps each other. And especially the Little Henderson community, they have been phenomenal with helping their residents rebound from this. It was awful.
Yeah.
And the one thing we got hit with that, and then 2 weeks later we had a major, as did a lot of people, with the flooding.
Right.
And that we had some issues this time that we've always had issues with people trying to get around barricades to get around people, but we actually had deputies stationed at different locations.
Yeah.
I mean, our sheriff was even out there helping us out. Because, we're trying to protect people from having further harm against themselves or their vehicle.
Right.
And people became very belligerent.
Really?
And, yes. And it's, and we're not trying to tell you that people don't like to be told what to do. We understand that. But when we're in a situation like that, when you drive past us and you insist on trying to go around something, then you create a secondary issue for us. I mean, it's... As you can imagine, when we have something like that, our deputies are very busy. We call people in, all of us go and help. But, it's a very spread out location, so we only have X number of people.
Right.
So we're still trying to gather, and our residents were great with that, with helping me, sending me Facebook message saying, hey, this street is an issue, or this tree is down blocking this roadway. That's a huge help for us, because then that frees us up. Hey, I can give that information without them having to stop what they're doing or helping someone to go there. Yeah. But we just really want to remind people, we're not telling you that to be obstinate.
Yeah.
We're telling you that to save you. I cannot tell you the people that we were getting that would find some other way. And then, of course, what would happen is...
You'd have to go rescue them.
Correct, because they don't understand the vehicle gets picked up and then pushed into a ditch. You can't see these. Some of these ditches are very, very deep.
Especially in Henderson.
Right.
Oh, it's like the Grand Canyon
Correct.
of St. Martin Parish down
and
there.
that's in several places. And so that's very, very dangerous. And what they also don't understand is, if water picks up, it could flip it.
Yeah.
6 inches of water is all you need
that's right.
to move a vehicle. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but water is so powerful.
It is, and I don't think people really, truly understand that. And then what happens is we have to rescue an entire family, and we are limited in our resources. And then they call for a wrecker. A wrecker's not going to get you because they can't get there either.
Right.
So that takes place when the water recedes and we can get in there. And I don't think they understand that. I think there's just kind of sometimes that mentality of, well, someone's going to come help me or save me. We will do our best to get to you, but we can't guarantee you we're going to get there in a timely manner because we're dealing with 20, 30 other issues that are going on.
Well, and that's very reminiscent of the messages that come out ahead of a hurricane about evacuating.
Correct.
It's, I'm not leaving my house. Well, okay. And I remember several times being on the air and reminding people, if you decide to stay, that's your prerogative. But if you get into trouble, you can't rely on first responders getting to you because they can't put themselves in harm's way,
and we won't.
You
after a
shouldn't.
certain, when the wind gets to a certain speed, we don't want them out getting hurt. Either.
Right.
Just the profile on these vehicles, like a fire truck, for example. Everyone's like, well, fire truck's heavy, it's fine. Well, it's a box.
Exactly.
It is not aerodynamic, and it will flip
Yes.
over, and it's dangerous. And you get these trucks with suspension, and that's great. One thing, a fire truck or these big rescue don't have a suspension, so they're not going to drive through flood water.
No, and you're talking about this, upcoming storms, and we of course hope we don't experience one. But we have to prepare for it, and every time we've had one, invariably about 2-3 hours into a storm, we get that panic call from somebody that says, I want somebody to come pick me up and bring me somewhere. We can't.
Yeah.
Because by that point, there's no place to bring you. We don't usually have a shelter in St. Martin Parish because of safety reasons. We don't have that. Now, once something occurs, that may be established down the road.
Right.
But for there, that's what we just really impress on people. Please make your plans early.
Well, and something else that I think about is, as you say, people were getting upset because well, here's the thing I think about. Do you think that deputy wants to be sitting in their car right there telling you? I mean, they'd rather be doing something more productive than just sitting there trying to keep you
correct
out.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine that.
Even the roads, people complain, the roads are flooded. Guess what?
Yes.
You know what? When those roads are flooded, that's what they're made for, because it's keeping the water out of your house. And wait, where I live, in the country, right? So our road tends to be a little neglected, but I've never seen water like I saw.
Myself, I was
ago.
very scared. Like it almost got in my house. I've never gotten that close.
But it was gone.
Yeah.
Within an hour or two. Just waiting out. My wife was like, well, I got to get to the pig. We need milk. I'm like, we can go 2 hours without milk.
Yeah.
The pig will still be there, hopefully.
Right. That is
awesome. And it really, like, I know where you're living. And one of the issues we have is this is anytime it rains, and you know this, the Cecilia Underpass and Cecilia High School Road floods. It has been flooding for years and years and years. And what happened this time is that water stayed there under the underpass. So, yes, people could get on and off the interstate, but if they got off, there was no place for them. They couldn't turn to get back and go like towards Borough Bridge or the other way because it was flooded the other direction. So, that's why we put the PSAs out to let them know, hey, if you, and then we did have some parents reach out because their kids worked at some of the businesses over there. And, we certainly gave them, hey, take this road to this road to this road because we want to make sure that they're safe and we can help them. But sometimes we don't know yet, what the circumstances are. It takes a minute for us to get, all the logistics of which streets are flooded, which ones are because, we don't have the authorities sometimes to shut down a road. That's DOTD or it may be the parish or whatever. So if we can certainly call and say, hey, we need to have this road shut down.
Well, and that goes back to what you were saying about having information from the public because you guys can't be everywhere all the time. Mm-hmm. And especially, you look at, I think about the parishes that surround Lafayette. They're very rural. Mm-hmm. The houses are very spread apart. They have a lot of those, what we call down south, the back roads,
right.
That's just St. Martin Parish.
Right. And so you can't have your eyes everywhere. So it's important to have that communication.
It is.
From the
it really
public.
Is.
People think we have these satellites where you can just see everything that's going on.
No,
it doesn't work like that. And that poor little pump at the underpass in Henderson at I-10.
It's just like...
I don't even know why they put a pump there. There's no place to pump the water.
But there's nowhere to go. And that's exactly why there's such the delay in getting it moved. But that's something that's a given. So, if you know that, then find another way to go or, and they get so upset over it. And we understand that, right?
Yeah, Cecilia,
I always tell people to stay put, but I think there's this, when you tell people to stay put, you can't tell me what to do.
Uh-huh.
And again, we're not doing that. But I know during that last event on that Saturday, I was literally sitting on my front step watching the water and it was so close to entering my home and people were driving down the street. I'm like, where are you going?
And when the toilets start gurgling, there's a problem.
Oh, yeah, there's a big problem. Oh, no, there's a big problem.
But I always am fascinated by people. And what we were seeing was people that were sightseeing. Why do you need to do that? You're creating a danger for other people that are really trying to not get water into their home.
Yeah, because you're creating a wake at that point. One of my favorite videos, and it still circulates on the internet, is Daniel Phillips. We had a bad rainstorm one morning when I was there, and he
threw a fit, man.
Oh yeah, he was like,
because
"Why are you doing this? You are being inconsiderate. Stay off the roads because if their house, like in Jenny's case, is not flooded, you create a wake, and all of a sudden your house is flooded not because the rain it has caused it, but because you are being an idiot."
Same with the tornado damage we had.
Yes.
If you look at the place where it hit. Not the Grand Point area, but back, in between Ann's Broussard and Grand Point,
where the fatality
where that,
was.
I mean, such a very tight road to begin with.
Yeah.
And you had so many people going back there just to check it out. And it's not worth it. Let those first responders get back there.
No, because you're exactly right. And because I know when we pulled up, it was very difficult to park, and it was torrential rain. And we're trying to, and I mean, the road was very, very tight. When I left, I was afraid I was going to get stuck in the ditch.
Well, and those storms were a clear indicator that type of setup really may not be as widespread, because St. Martin Parish just seemed to get walloped twice.
We did.
You know,
Back
one
to
of them,
back.
it was Youngsville. It may have been a different area, and I could probably go through. But St. Martin Parish just got like that double whammy.
We did.
You know, you got the big wind event that really, took some trees down and did some damage. And then you had the rain on top of that.
And then the more serious side, what you were discussing, where this occurred, it's very rural, very, and this happened right before dark. So people don't understand the danger from power lines, so we don't want them driving and then getting stuck, and then they're stuck in between live power lines and something else, we can't get to them. So, we really do want to give a shout out to the fire department. They were such a huge help the night of the tornado and also during the flood. Like, they have helped us so
The
much.
trees, too. My dad, right across the street from him, a water oak landed in his neighbor's lap. She was fine.
Oh, my gosh,
But went through
you're
her
kidding.
roof
Yes.
and stopped right in her lap.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, like, if it had just gone a little bit one way, it could have been him.
Right.
Those trees are so big. It's a big water oak.
Yeah.
And in the roadways, if you're driving during these storms,
Yes.
you could get hit by a falling
Sure.
tree.
Because the root systems, if we have that much rain, there's nothing, you can see that as you drive, through. And so that's why we just really want people to be patient. And I always, go on and thank people after, saying thank you for being patient, because like we can't be everywhere at every single minute. And we are stretched so thin when something like this happens, and we want to try to help as many people. And then the seriousness of the events, of course, are going to get prioritized.
Yeah.
But, we had, and our deputies were great. I mean, a lot of them are off duty, just started working,
Yeah.
because that's the biggest thing is honestly just keeping the roads blocked so people don't go around, so we can try to.
If they're
keep them
doing
safe.
something out there, don't be a knucklehead. Like, they're there for a reason. They aren't just there to make you angry or to to stop your life or take your rights, so to speak. They're there to protect and serve. So just keep that in mind. We'll continue our discussion with Jenny Higgins from St. Martin Parish. I was just call her Jenny. St. Martin Parish Sheriff, KPEL News Time, 8:22.
Monday warrior, mean strike. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
KPEL News Time is 8:25 on this Thursday, June 13th. Thursdays in the 8 o'clock hour, we visit with our law enforcement folks. In today, St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer Jenny Higgins, one of, I know, my favorite people. Jamie's a St. Martin Parish resident, and you brought to the top of our minds during the break a service that you guys offer. Tell us about that, because I think that's pretty neat.
We actually have two. One of them is the Special Needs Registry, and our second one is our Courtesy Call program. So our Special Needs Registry is anybody can register a family member. It may be somebody who's vision impaired, hearing impaired, may have a chronic health condition that if we respond to their home, we need to know about. Maybe somebody who had a recent heart procedure and they can't have CPR. If something, there's certain things you need to do.
Right.
So we have this registry, and it's awesome. And what it is just a little one-page form, and then we also ask them to attach a photo. That special needs form it's in our dispatch area, but our community services division also has a copy. And what we do is it's updated every 6 months. And then if there's a call to that house, we actually have a flag in our system that will alert the deputy that, hey, this person is at this home. It's especially helpful if we have someone who has Alzheimer's or has an autistic child that may wander. That gives our deputy a picture of this child before they even respond to the home, that, hey, if they see them walking on the side of the road, they can recognize the
child,
the person or the individual, especially with Alzheimer's, because we've had some instances in the past where, sometimes with Alzheimer's patients, they will drive and they don't know to turn left or right if they come to a stop in the road.
Right.
We had something happen that several years ago with someone in a cane field. They got turned around. So it's great. But I love that. And it's obviously it's free. And then what we do is when we have a storm or an impending hurricane, we make sure we call everybody on the special needs registry, see how they are, see if they need anything. Remind those that maybe have supplemental oxygen or things like that. Hey, make sure your tanks are full. And then we also make a note of that, because if power goes out and we know certain people need help, we're going to make sure we check on them. And then the courtesy call program is for anybody who's homebound. Most of our clients are elderly, but it doesn't have to be. It could be somebody who may have a chronic health condition and they don't have anybody that checks on them throughout the day. So our community services division, once a day, 7 days a week, even on holidays and weekends, they call to check on them.
Really?
Yeah. And so if they don't answer, then we have an emergency contact, which is usually a family member or a neighbor. If they don't answer, then we send a deputy to go check on them to make sure they're
She
good.
is not kidding, because my grandma, when she was she passed away recently, 97 years old, but every day someone from the sheriff's office either called or I think at one point they would just stop by.
Yeah, because they really get, it's so funny because like yesterday they were calling this one gentleman and he didn't answer the phone. So, Miss Mona got a little nervous and she kept calling. Well, he answered it and he said he didn't answer it because the other girl hadn't called him, because they get very attached to the people that call. And, there's a group of 3 or 4 of them that make the calls. And it's so funny because they get very attached to certain ones. So she says, well, okay, but she still answered. He didn't recognize the phone number.
I gotcha.
And, but it tickled me because they do. They're very, and then what we do is on their birthdays, we go and bring them a little blue bouquet or something.
Like my heart is
greatest.
So here's the other thing. Why would you think that these people are just trying to tell you what to do
Exactly.
just because it's fun? I mean,
Y'all want to know why I don't move to Lafayette?
Right?
Because it's home and we take care of our people. And it's
really
amazing.
Okay, so Jenny, if someone needs to get on one of these lists,
they can just contact, they can call 337-394-3071 and they can ask to speak to Sergeant Leanna Calais. That's all they have to do, and then they'll make sure that they get the form, or they can contact me. I can also provide them with that information.
So if they didn't have a pen and paper, they could just call the sheriff's office
and they can send a Facebook message. I'll be glad to, and they just give me their contact info, and we'll get them all set up.
If you didn't know that was available in St. Martin Parish, now you do. Now it's in the municipalities too. It's across the parish.
Yeah, anybody who lives in St. Martin Parish.
Okay. Yeah, parish is mostly unincorporated.
Yeah,
it is.
Right. Yeah. Jenny, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Absolutely. KPEL News Time is 8:29. Okay. Home Furniture's new location. They're on Johnston Street, right next to Mazin Grill, across from Acadiana Mall. Well, they've got a great reason to do that right now. Home Furniture's chain-wide grand opening celebration because of their new Lafayette showroom. They've got savings in every store. More furniture, more mattresses, more of everything you want in style, in stock, and on sale, and some absolutely gorgeous pieces. You can get a rocker recliner, $598, a sofa for $698, a leather reclining sofa. Those are fun, especially during football season, for $998. But we didn't stop there. More than 40,000 items with no money down, up to 60 months special financing, and they will bring it to you. That's right, next day delivery. So you don't have to worry about bringing a truck. I hate that. I want to go buy some new furniture, but you can't because you don't know how to get it home. They've taken that guesswork out. Home Furniture. This is one celebration you don't want to miss at every Home Furniture Plus bedding location, but make a point to go by their new location on Johnston Street. You can see store for details. If you need more information too, you can go to HomeFurn. That's HomeFurn.com.
KPEL covers Acadiana with Lowry's Printing and Copying.
Dr. John W. Sutherland will give a fun and informative presentation about his third environmental book at the Southside Regional Library in Lafayette on Johnston Street, Saturday, June 22nd at 2 p.m. Sutherland has conducted environmental projects worldwide and in Louisiana. His third book, Hogwash, addresses environmental concerns about confined animal feeding operations. First 5 attendees get a free autographed copy. Derek J. Olivier Foundation of Louisiana Scholarship Fund is a fundraiser for young Derek, who lost his life unexpectedly as a college student. The fundraiser is Saturday, June 22nd at Mona Mee, 7304 Highway 90 East in Jeanerette, 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Music by EJ the DJ, some delicious food, all for a great cause. Get more details. Call Alma at 337-579-0308.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wirtz with a look at news on this Thursday, June 13th. A months-long investigation in St. Landry Parish resulted in the closure of what officials say was a house of prostitution disguised as a spa. Detectives executed a search warrant that revealed several items, including handwritten ledgers and other business documents indicating criminal activity. They also talked to several customers who said 2 women were offering sexual favors in exchange for cash. Officials say the 2 women suspects didn't speak English well and were uncooperative during the investigation. The women were booked Tuesday and bonded out a short time later. Bessie has approved a new accountability system for all schools and districts in the state. Grow, Achieve, Thrive reportedly puts more emphasis on making sure students are mastering content and that they're ready for college, service, or careers after graduation. The plan will go into effect for the 25-26 school year. However, simulated scores will be provided for 23-24 and 24-25. Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries agents have arrested 6 people for allegedly committing fraud in hog hunting contests in Caldwell and Bienville parishes. Agents received a tip that the 6 individuals were catching wild hogs in Texas and entering them into Louisiana contests. Hunting fraud brings up to a $3,000 fine and 1 year in jail. According to a Pelican Institute report, population and job growth are stagnant in Louisiana. Chief economist with the Pelican Institute, Vance Ginn, says Louisiana ranks in the bottom 10 in the nation in population growth and unemployment rate. Ginn says lawmakers have already taken one step to improve the state's job climate by passing a law reforming the state's occupational license law. Ginn says getting more people into the workforce will result in more revenue for the state, which he says could ultimately help the state wean itself off the personal income tax. The Louisiana Department of Health is reminding everyone to take precautions against mosquito bites this summer that could carry and expose people to West Nile virus. Mosquitoes are more active in the warmer months, and that increases the risk of contracting the disease. Mosquitoes normally get the virus from dead birds, and while 80% of people show no symptoms, some can develop West Nile fever, which is a flu-like illness that has symptoms of fever, headache, body aches, nausea, and rashes. There's no vaccine for West Nile virus, and the best course of action is preventing bites by wearing long pants and long-sleeve shirts outside and applying EPA-approved mosquito repellent on top of clothes and to exposed skin. To protect your home against mosquitoes that breed in standing water, turn over wheelbarrows, wading pools, buckets, and trash cans, anything that could collect water. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill joined the National Association of Attorneys General to endorse a House resolution bill known as the Child Exploitation and Artificial Intelligence Expert Commission Act of 2024 to target the usage of AI in child exploitation crimes. IT recommends new methods and solutions to improve criminal investigation and prosecution of crimes against children involving AI. You may want to pay extra attention to your mailbox beginning today. The Louisiana State Treasurer will begin mailing checks to residents who have unclaimed cash property. State Treasurer John Fleming says since his department began sharing information with the Department of Revenue through a legislative act in 2018, finding the rightful owners of property is easier. The Saints' 3-day mandatory minicamp started Tuesday, and many players were absent from the Saints OTAs, like Alvin Kamara and Marshawn Lattimore. Kamara reported for the 2024 minicamp on Wednesday and says he hopes to see a lot more intentionality in the Saints offense under new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. And he's excited to get back into a more versatile role in Kubiak's high-motioned offense. He was primarily used out of the backfield last season, but hopes that he can be more involved in both the passing and rushing scheme against Kubiak. The Saints will take on the Cardinals in their first preseason game on August 10th. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wirtz. I've been suggesting you go to Home Furniture's brand new location. They're on Johnston Street, right next to Mazin Grill, across from Acadiana Mall. Do yourself a favor. If you are in the market for furniture or maybe just want to redo a room, go buy Home Furniture. And right now, they're having a big grand opening celebration at all their locations. More furniture, more mattresses, more of everything you want. Style, stock, and of course, on sale. You can get a rocker recliner for just $598. A sofa for $698, a leather reclining sofa for $998, but they didn't stop there. More than 40,000 items with no money down. You can get up to 60 months special financing and next day delivery. I love that. You don't have to worry about bringing a pickup truck and a whole lot of people to make sure that your furniture, the furniture you get, makes it to your house. It's one celebration you don't want to miss at every Home Furniture plus bedding location. And I want to circle back to that rocker recliner for just $598. What a great Father's Day gift. Yeah, Home Furniture plus bedding. See store for details. Good morning and welcome back into Acadiana's Morning News. 8:39 on this Thursday, June 13th. Tracy Wirtz joining you, and in as my co-pilot today is Jamie Angel, and Thursday's Jamie in the 8 o'clock hour. We talk to our law enforcement folks from around Acadiana, and joining us via phone this morning is Acadia Parish Sheriff KP Gibson. Good morning.
Good morning. How are y'all doing?
We're doing great. What's going on in your neck of the woods, KP?
Everything's going on, Tracy. I'd like to say it's nothing going on, but no, we're staying very steady. Well, a lot of things going on. Our patrol folks, as well as our guys and gals in corrections, are really busy, and it's just a busy time of the year for us. Fighting crime and trying to deal with those who are incarcerated is definitely a full-time job.
We just talked to Jenny Higgins with St. Martin Parish, and of course, St. Martin Parish got really hit hard by the storms that happened in mid-May, and they're still trying to clean up. Lafayette's still trying to clean up. What are you seeing from Acadia Parish? Because, of course, it's a big parish, very rural. What are you guys seeing?
We've had some damage on the two storms we had come in, but I don't think nearly as bad as St. Martin Parish had it. We had some areas where we had roof damages and a lot of hail damage as well that came through with cars and so forth like that. But as far as we had a lot of power lines, and those are all, obviously electric companies are great getting those back up quickly. But, people are still dealing with, home damage and so forth, but I don't think nearly as bad as like people to the east of us from there. So very blessed and lucky as far as that. But, again, some folks are still having to deal with with the wrath of what's hit them in their home as well. So, we just try to keep them in our prayers and hope that everything can be, fixed and resolved. We can fix things, but the good thing is nobody lost their life.
Absolutely. Any hot button issues or hot areas, things happening that maybe public may need to know about?
Yeah, we've been having problems over the last several months with vehicle burglaries and four-wheeler ATV type thefts. And I'll hit one at a time real quick. The vehicle thefts are people walking around pulling in neighborhoods, pulling on car door handles and looking for unlocked doors for the majority. We've had one that was a smash and grab, but the rest of them are pulling on handles, and people are just, we really need the folks to understand the times have changed. We need to lock the doors, take your valuables out, your briefcase, gym bag, if you got a gun that you carry with you in your car, take it out at night because, people are looking for opportunities, and, they'll pull on every door handle. And if they pull on 100 and they get 10 that open with stuff in it, they've done well, Mm-hmm. So we've been on a real big campaign trying to get everybody to, please lock your doors. And kind of the same thing with the four-wheelers and ATVs. They're not breaking into buildings. Most of the ATVs have been left, outside, maybe under an awning, with the keys in them still, though. And And that's, majority of those really big. Now, we're going to do a release later today, so you'll get it first, I guess. We have made about 7 arrests on those cases, which is we believe to be a ring involved in, with recovery of about 80% of the items that were stolen, but we still think that there's others out there. So we still focus on trying to recover the remainder of the stolen property, but we do have a mixture of juveniles and young adults that are involved in this. Good to have these numbers coming in and recovering things, but at the same point in time, and making arrests, but at the same time, we'd like to see everything recovered and hopefully get all the bad guys picked up for this.
Now, Sheriff, what's the process like? Let's say my ATV's stolen, and then you are able to recover it. How long am I looking at before I can, get my stuff back? How long will it take for these folks to get their stuff back?
It just really depends. I mean, so you file your report, and we start our investigation. If they're just using them and dumping them, usually it's pretty quick because people will take them, ride them, and then just leave them because they don't want to get caught with them, I assume. But the problem is that you have people that are taking them and trying to move them, and sell them in different areas. And usually those are the harder ones to run down because some of these cases, people have been waiting multiple months. In some cases, we've had things within a few weeks that we were lucky that we were able to recover. So it's hard to put an exact time frame on it. These have been going on and off real hard for the last 3 to 4 months. But we have these happen every month, not necessarily part of a ring. But, sometimes it's very quick, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of time and tracing things down. And sometimes, unfortunately, we have some that we never get back.
Right. Now, when we talked to, I think it was Sheriff Mark Garber a couple of weeks ago, and I'm asking because I wonder if it's the same process. He mentioned that they had seen some neighborhoods where they had seen these, you talk about pulling on car door handles, that kind of thing. And what they were seeing is that folks, if they didn't have anything stolen out of their cars, they weren't reporting it. But he encouraged folks to report that information to the sheriff's office so that they could see if there was a pattern, or they could let folks know that somebody was active in that area, because what was happening is that someone may have had things stolen out of their vehicle. And then they found out after that person filed a report and things started happening that, 2 or 3 other people in the neighborhood had the same thing happen a couple nights before, but they didn't have anything stolen, so they didn't report it. Should they report even if they don't have things stolen?
Without a doubt, and Sheriff Garber hit that pretty good. The big thing that for us is that in our case we use what's called a heat map through our reporting network, and it shows deputies that's coming on that may have been off for a few days. They can get on a heat map and it'll show them where our hot spots have been. And even if it's a burglary but nothing was stolen, it still shows that someone's in that neighborhood, going to that neighborhood and looking. So they'll keep going back because sooner or later they're going to find something in an unlocked vehicle and so forth like that. So it is very important so law enforcement knows where our hot spots are, where people are trying to, commit crimes as far as, thefts and so forth of that nature, burglaries. But if you don't report it, obviously we don't know that your area has been hit. And rurally, it's hard because sometimes it may not be a subdivision. It may be a farmer that's kind of spread away from everybody. Well, we want to make sure we pick that person's property and that we're in that area checking on potential thefts as well. So very important to report it. We document it. We have ways of using that information that you provide to us through our network. That pretty much instead of those deputies having to go read through it, they can pull up Acadia Parish and it's going to tell you, hey, in this district or in this zone, we've been hit in this neighborhood or this area. We had 5 burglaries that happened here last night. May or may not have been items stolen, but at least we know that someone's in there. And even if you don't realize somebody got into your car, but a lot of people say, hey, I saw somebody on camera, coming through our area. Report it. It helps us to know that where your hot spots are.
So when you say report it, let's say, somebody got in my car last night. Do I just call the sheriff's office and say, I think somebody was rifling through? Because technically it's not a report of, like something was stolen. Is there a special way to do that?
Well, you just contact our dispatch, and either a deputy goes out or they'll document it if that was taken. But the same thing you have to think about this year is that once they opened that door and went into it, they did commit a crime. So it's not a matter of saying, it's an attempted burglary if they didn't get anything out of it. But at the same time, they entered that vehicle. So, they have a criminal offense that can happen if that person can be proven. But we're having the biggest thing is like somebody says I saw somebody on camera pull on my door handle, and my door was locked. Well, I mean we need to know that too. We want not only do we want that information, we're hoping that we can partner with our citizens in the parish to where we know we keep a listing of all the cameras in the parish where we go to reports. That way, if we have a crime that's in your area or it could be at your house or in your neighborhood, we know that maybe we can contact you back and going back and saying, hey, can we look at your cameras? We had an incident happen next door across the street and take a look at those cameras to try and help us out with resolving not only crimes for that person, but for anybody that lives in their area, or maybe there were a pathway we can get an ID on a car or something.
Now, you guys have an app, KP. Can you report things that way? Is that a good tool to have? Tell us about the app.
The app is probably more important for getting information out to the public than it is for reporting. We try to ask everybody to go through our dispatch center, which is we run through 911 center, but we also have our direct lines that go into there because they will document everything from that aspect. So we try to use the app more to push things out to the public rather than taking it in. In this way, because the app does not marry to our reporting network.
Got it. But let me tell you what, the app has I was going to say it has some great information on it.
Yeah, we just recently not changed the subjects, but we just changed to add the concealed carry laws that people need to know, because here in a little bit less than a month, we're going to have concealed carry law without permit. And if you don't understand the laws, you need the individual person carrying a firearm on their person needs to understand the laws and what they need to follow, because you can't just say, "Hey, I didn't know the law," and that's why. We've been pushing this since it's been signed from the first session, trying to get everybody out there to know. So please, if you plan on carrying concealed without permits, you need to know these laws, because the only thing great about the concealed carry classes, not only but one of is that they teach you about the laws.
Yeah, and that's important. That's definitely important. Well, we appreciate you giving us a call this morning, bringing us up to speed. Again, if somebody's pulling on your door handles, even if they didn't get anything, let them know and lock your cars up. Thanks so much, KP. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. You have a great day as well.
Okay. KPEL News Time is 8:50. The Louisiana Highway Safety Commission is committed to developing and implementing strategies aimed at saving lives and preventing injuries on our highways. KPEL News Time is 8:53 on this Thursday, June the 13th, half the month gone. Tracy Wirtz, and joining me this morning has been Jamie Angel. Jamie being my sidekick for a little while.
A little bit.
While Mark is, convalescing. He's doing well, by the way. We've had a few people come in and say, hey, how's Mark? He's doing great. We do need to let you know there's a couple of accidents on the roadways. A minor accident, the Youngsville Highway at William Highway. Another one, East Willow at its intersection with East Stamp. And then the 1400 block of Northeast Evangeline Thruway. It says, Jamie, major accident?
Yeah, major accident. Was it northeast or northwest?
Let's see. Northwest. I'm sorry. Northwest. Okay. And it's just not pulling up. So the 1400 block of Northwest Evangeline Thruway showing a major accident. Just be careful in that area. And be careful as you travel on the roadways. Feels nice this morning, Jamie. It's you and your weather hat. It's drier
because the dew point's low.
Yeah,
yeah. My wife is really trying to wrap her head around. She's from Oregon, and when I tell her that sometimes we have 100% humidity, she's like, "That's not possible." I'm like, "It's absolutely possible. That's just the maximum point of saturation that And she's like, "Have to see it to believe it." So every time I check the KETC app, I always look at the humidity, the percentage to show her because she doesn't believe me. But I was like, it doesn't really matter anyway. You got to look at the dew point. So higher dew point means a lot more humidity.
Oh, okay. See, I'm learning something. Jamie, for those of you who don't know, is kind of in the middle of his studies. We'll call it that for meteorology, and that's a good thing. Of course, later on this afternoon, Jamie will be joined. Jamie drives the bus for Josh Guillory. That's at what, 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock. 4 to 5, and then we're filling in for Joe this week, so 4 to 6.
Lots to do. Tomorrow, of course, is Friday, and that's enough of a reason to celebrate.
Already.
But we've got Firearms Friday. Our friend Caleb Morse from Rustic Renegade will be joining us in the 7 o'clock hour. It's always interesting to find out what's happening in terms of the Second Amendment. Not just here, but around the country. As we close in, as you heard Sheriff K.P. Gibson say, on the date when constitutional carry becomes legal, which is July the 4th. And from what Caleb says, he and Blake Miguez are friends, and that was an intentional date. It's Independence Day. And then at 8 o'clock, Daniel Phillips, KATC meteorologist Daniel Phillips, comes in to visit with us and let us know what's happening in the weather world. So make sure that you join us tomorrow. KPEL News Time, 8:57. God bless. Have a great day.
Business Report is brought to you by Gulf Coast Bank, your local community bank. Whether your financial needs are for an individual, a business, or for the whole family, Gulf Coast Bank has the knowledge and products to serve you best. With 9 convenient locations throughout Acadiana, you're never far from a friendly Gulf Coast Bank associate.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Prices at the wholesale level declined in May. The drop of 0.2% was a surprise. Also, core prices, excluding food and energy, were flat in May. For the year ending in May, the PPI held at 2.2%. Core PPI on an annual basis came in at 2.3%, which is an improvement. Also, the job market is showing signs of cooling. The number of new claims for unemployment benefits last week rose to 242,000, and those remaining on benefits in the latest reading rose to 1.8 million. Shares of jewelry giant Signet are higher. Its business picked up in May, and it's standing by its forecast for the year. Tesla's annual meeting is later today. CEO Elon Musk says preliminary results indicate shareholders will approve his pay package. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola. Invested in you.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI. Or
every day at 5 p.m. right here on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. It is local, state, and national news, the analysis and commentary you're not going to get anywhere else. All of that from a local perspective on the Joe Cunningham Show every day at 5 p.m.
Apply.
The loudest voices on the biggest issues impacting your life.
Hi, hello, welcome Moon Griffon Show.
Continuing the long tradition of informing you in Acadiana. News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Depend on it.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studio. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
At the Capitol. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. For the first time since his infamous rally there just before the January 6, 2021 riot that led to a criminal indictment against him, he'll meet with House Republicans talking policy and strategy. Speaker Mike Johnson says,
I believe President Trump in his second term, which I believe he'll have, can be the most consequential president of the modern era.
The former president will hold a news conference later after meeting with Senate Republicans. President Biden's in Italy holding meetings with world leaders at the G7 summit. A big focus, helping Ukraine even more battle Russia's invasion. He'll also meet with President Zelensky. Working out, Fox's Peter Ducey reports from the White House.
A new plan that would make it harder for future presidents, including possibly Trump, to undo U.S. military aid for Ukraine. That is why President Biden is expected to sign a 10-year security agreement with the Ukrainians.
There's also a meeting at NATO headquarters focused on helping Ukraine with long-term assistance and military training, while Russia plays war games close to us.
A Russian Navy frigate and a nuclear-powered submarine arrived in Havana, Cuba this week. It's being seen as Russia flexing its muscles as tensions over the war in Ukraine continue. And it follows Vladimir Putin warning he's willing to place weapons in friendly countries within striking distance of Western powers. But the Kremlin says this week's exercise is normal practice and there's no reason for anyone to worry.
Fox's Jonathan Savage for the second day in a row. A report on tamer inflation. Fox's Ginny Casola details it.
Price prices at the wholesale level declined in May. The drop of 0.2% was a surprise. Also, core prices, excluding food and energy, were flat in May. For the year ending in May, the PPI held at 2.2%.
That is a slight drop in the annual inflation rate from April, similar to yesterday's consumer price report. We also got an unemployment update this morning showing weekly jobless claims surged to a 10-month high, 242,000. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-887-1010. That's 800-8...
Should you buy? Should you sell? Where do you start? Join us each Tuesday morning at 7:30 for Real Talk about real estate. Our industry aces, Walter Campbell and Deborah Pierce with Keller Williams, offer advice for buyers, sellers, and investors. From flipping to financing, they'll answer your questions and share tips on how to do it right. Real Talk about real estate, Tuesday mornings at 7:30 on News Talk 96.5, KPEL, on air and on the app.